Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
and beer.
Cerveza.
and beer. Crap. Okay. I'm Bill, and with me is the official interim co-host, Kevin Carlton, the host of the amazing podcast History Goon, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's not get out of hand with this whole amazing thing. It's pretty good. It's not. I wouldn't go with amazing, but
I
hey,
would.
it gets the job done.
Also with us, we have Murder Matt of the Mighty Murder Coaster podcast. What's going on, Matt?
Not much. Just enjoying a beautiful winter's day here.
Oh, yeah, me too. 90 degrees today.
Yeah. It got up to 20. It got up to 27, so it was a heat wave for me.
No, it got up to about 80.
It's 60 here. It's beautiful. I walked along the marsh and stuff. Took dog for a couple-mile hike.
Appreciate you joining us tonight, Matt. Why don't you, for anybody who might not be aware of your podcast, go ahead and tell them a little bit about it.
I am the co-host of Murder Coaster. We delve deep into history's most bizarre and weird murders and reenact them and stage them out with Bram Stoker award-winning author Krista Carmen.
Yeah. And
fun stuff.
Awesome podcast.
Pretty awesome, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I even gave a plug on one of our recent episodes. It was the Fast Times at whatever high, that crazy ass case.
Upper Marion High.
Yeah, that was
that's some crazy shit.
that was
right?
insane. That was freaking insane. I was listening to it in the truck. My girlfriend's with me, and she was just kind of dozing off and everything. But all of a sudden I hear, "Bill, what the hell are you listening to?" It was when you were reading that letter, that really perverted porn letter.
Yeah.
Oh man,
he's telling her he's gonna fist fuck her and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
He's got a PhD. He's a professor of English.
He's a real romantic. Sounds like too. You know.
Oh yeah,
he
definitely.
fucked dogs, man. He was trying to start a program to have dogs fuck lonely women.
Oh man.
A PhD and principal of a high school.
Yeah.
And he didn't own like a trailer out in the middle of the desert in New Mexico.
He was a retired Army colonel.
Oh my God. Letting his freak flag fly, you know.
Ended up on death row for like a decade and then got let go. Freed. Completely freed.
That was a crazy episode. I'd never heard that story before, and I'd be willing to bet you're not going to find another podcast on it that covers it. I mean, I haven't looked, but I'd be willing to bet that's the case.
That's fucking wild. Oh my God.
But there aren't very many podcast episodes about our topic tonight, and tonight we're going to get culty, kinda. With
Cult adjacent.
Cult adjacent. And with a bunch of Italian metalheads.
Which is not something that I would usually put in the same sentence generally, but hey, you know, that works.
Oh, they're European. Metal's huge all over Europe. I wish it was like that here.
That is very true.
But this is the first cult episode we've done since the somewhat long-awaited return of CKCB. And another first, most of our cult episodes are centered around religious cults that preach a perverted version of Christianity, you know, because I'm kind of experienced in that regard. But tonight we're covering a, quote, legitimate satanic cult. And I think this is also our first ever episode from Italy, of all people. But I'm sure you've covered some episodes from Italy there, haven't you, History Goon?
Not really.
No.
Not yet, no. I do have some stuff lined up where I want to do. Obviously, I've got to get into some Roman shit, but
also Mussolini and Bonaparte.
Yeah, I've got to go there at some point too, because Mussolini's a giant piece of shit who doesn't get nearly as much credit for being a scumbag as he should, because, you know, he was there with Hitler and Stalin,
right,
being scumbags, and, you know, they're like just on a different level than him. So, but I honestly, I don't think I've covered anything Italian yet.
Okay, well, I
even
beat you to
any
it.
of my like bank robbery or like gangster stuff, I haven't gone Italian yet.
But tonight we're covering the Beasts of Satan. It's a small group of serial killers who, well, I wouldn't really call them serial killers, but they were tried and convicted of a series of satanic ritualistic murders between 1988 and 2004. This group hailed from the northeastern periphery of Milan in the province of Varese.
1988 to 2004?
1998 to 2004.
Oh,
not 98, okay.
Did I say 88? Did I say 88?
I might have misheard you.
No. Well, I'm accused all the time of being stuck in the 80s, so so it's very possible. But to help keep me from butchering these Italians' names, I've recorded all the pronunciation of them, and I'll be pushing a little button whenever each name comes up in the story. For example...
Varsese.
See, I apparently already butchered one. We're high
It could
tech.
be worse. At least it's not like a Tony Soprano button, you know?
Bada bing, bada boom.
This case focused around a local metal band called Beasts of Satan, which was a bunch of wannabe Satanists and killers that ate their own. Not literally, but figuratively. We're not going cannibal here.
Oh.
That we know of. That we know of. I mean, they could have dealt in cannibalism. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. I mean, you never really know. I mean, especially with weirdo shit like this.
Yeah.
You never really know.
Never know. But they all had their different monikers and everything. Like one of them called himself Ozzy because he liked Ozzy Osbourne.
Try hard.
Little on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Another one went by Isidon. I don't even know what that is or what it means.
Is that from the Japanese Issy the Killer book?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I bet you it is.
One of them went by Ferocity. But anyway, but their actual names were
Andrea Volpe.
Andrea Volpe.
Which I know that last name is Italian for fox. I know that much.
for Fox.
Yeah.
Volpe.
Niccolo Sapone.
Nicholas Sapona. Is that what it is? Nicholas?
Paolo Leone.
Palaleone. Apparently, I forgot to upload one, so I'll do my best. Mario Massioni.
That's not bad. That's pretty good, I'd say.
Okay.
Pierto Guerrieri.
Is that Pietro something?
Pierto. And there was Mark Zampalo, who went by Kill.
Ooh.
And, well, that's almost like Dead from Mayhem.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then, we covered them way early on, too.
Except I highly doubt this guy is like huffing dead crows before he goes out there like he was,
Nah, probably not. And then finally...
Eros Monterosso.
But these people were in a metal band called Beasts of Satan. And there was also a girl named Elisabetta Ballerin, who was the girlfriend of one of the killers / band members and was there for one of the murders but didn't participate. The BBC reported that these murders was the most shocking crime, or one of the most shocking crimes since World War II. And thanks to technology, my pronunciation of these names isn't yet another crime dished out on the good people of Italy. Sources are, and there aren't very many. The documentary Occult Crimes, Season 1, Episode 6, Beasts of Satan, and a little bit of wiki.
Yeah, that's the documentary I've watched. That's actually where I first heard about these guys. I was like,
Yeah,
that's kind of a crazy fucking story. So
And I told you
I
I'd
have
find
never
it.
heard of these guys, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Well, I hadn't heard about it either, which is shocking to me. That like he pulls up a heavy metal cult case that I had never heard of. But I'm glad I did because this was good. Well, it's horrible, but it's a good true crime story.
good for content. Good for content.
Yeah. There's not really any backstory here, so we're just going to dive in. Around 11 p.m., January 17, 1998, not 88, a man named Michel Tallis got a phone call from his 16-year-old son, Fabio. Fabio said he wasn't coming home that night, that he was going to go spend the night with his 19-year-old girlfriend, Chiara Marino. And as a fan of the Miami Dolphins, I better get that last name right.
Yeah, you'll be excommunicated if you say that one wrong.
Fabio was 16, and Mr. Tallis wasn't down with this idea because it's like, okay, he shouldn't be out all night with a girl who was over 18. And plus, something kind of seemed off about how Fabio was talking. He sounded hesitant. And Mr. Tallis said that it sounded like somebody was telling him what to say, or maybe he was drunk or high. But either way, something wasn't right. Mr. Tallis went to go pick up Fabio anyway. He went to a Milan bar called Midnight Pub. Not the most original name I've ever heard of, but still. But this was the local hangout spot where all the metalheads hung out. Touring metal bands would play there. There was a decent metal local scene there, too. And honestly, sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah.
Fabio was a member of a local band there called Beasts of Satan, and that's where he usually was late on a Saturday night. Mr. Tallis arrived, and the first person that he saw there was
Paolo Leone.
or Ozzy. He was also a Beast of Satan member, but he was working at the pub that night as a waiter. So Paolo Leone, would you rather hear me say it or a sexy voice girl?
I mean, either way.
Okay.
Paolo Leone.
It sounded like you pretty well nailed that one, so.
He told Mr. Tallis that Fabio had already left with his girlfriend Chiara. They had gone to a bistro. So Mr. Tallis went to said bistro, and the managers there said that he had seen the couple. They had come in to use their phone, which was where he had called his dad from. But they had left. But Paolo Leone had followed Mr. Tallis to the bistro, and he told Mr. Tallis that there was a construction site nearby that they may have gone to that was an occasional lover's lane type place, you know. So,
very romantic.
Yeah. Come here,
What
baby.
would you do if we kissed under the excavator?
Get back up and you're covered with construction dust. But Paulo then went with Mr. Tallis there to other bars in the area to look for Fabio, and no luck there either. And Mr. Tallis asked if Paulo if he knew Chiara, and he did, and he actually gave Mr. Tallis Chiara's phone number. He called, and Chiara's mom answered, and Chiara wasn't home yet either. And she said her mother said that she had left with Paulo, and they should have come back with him because they would always ride together to and from the city on the train. The search continued, and other members of Beasts of Satan had actually joined them in the search. Nah, not suspicious at all, you think? Nah, not at all.
Pierto Guerrieri. Eros Monterosso.
Marco Zampalo and Massimo Mangi were all in the car along with Paulo and Mr. Tallis, but little by little, 3 of them had been dropped off, leaving only Massimo Magni and Paulo with Mr. Tallis. But by 1:30 a.m., they both had to get home too. And sorry, I just got flashed. But okay. But by 1:30
Take a breath.
take a salt tablet. But they had to get home too, and Leone told Mr. Tallis not to worry, that the 2 lovebirds should be home soon enough. But when Mr. Tallis got home, Fabio wasn't there. The next morning, Mr. Tallis told his wife that he was going to Chiara's house to look for him. Of course, she wasn't there, and her parents were worried too. Tallis then went to the police, and where he got the, "Don't worry, they're young, they shall come back." You know, that treatment. That seems to, anytime a teenager disappears in any of these stories, that's what the police always say for some reason.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that it's not restricted to the United States. It's worldwide, apparently.
Yeah, man, there's shitty cops everywhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the truth is, 98% of the time, a 16-year-old does come back, especially
Yeah.
the heavy metal ones.
Yeah, true. But they also said, take a guess, what the other thing that the police told them. Yep.
They ran away to California.
Nah, wrong continent.
They ran away to Amsterdam.
Well, maybe. With as Dick Darwin-esque as these cops are, I'm surprised that, I wouldn't be surprised if that. Oh, maybe they just went to Amsterdam. But Tallis was told that they can't file a missing persons report until it's been 48 hours. Mr. Tallis called every single member of the Beast of Satan, and each person gave the exact same story, pretty much word for word, which sounds what?
Wait a minute.
What?
Slightly suspicious, wouldn't we think?
Just a little bit.
Almost like they've been talking to each other. Anyway.
Yeah, and rehearsing. They are a band, so you would think that they rehearsed. So, Mr. Tallis, the ever-vigilant concerned parent, got them to agree to meet him the next day so that they could all go out and search for Fabio and Chiara. And they met in a park where the aforementioned band members...
Andrea Volpe.
And...
Niccolo Sapone.
Showed up too. There's lots of people in this band. That's 8, including Fabio.
Wow, that is a lot of people in the band.
Like Italian Slipknot.
I'm not sure. I mean, I used like black metal imagery on for the episode art for this, and before we started, Matt asked me if they were black metal. Honestly, I don't know, but in the documentary they were showing people with corpse paint on, so I just went with it.
I don't got, like 2 drummers, a keyboardist, 2 guitarists, a bassist.
I don't know, but maybe that's why they started killing everybody. They got too many members.
I can't just tell him he's got to go. He's a really nice guy. Maybe we should just kill him or something instead.
But, of course, all of the search turned up absolutely nothing. After 48 hours, Mr. Tallis filed a missing persons report, and he was less than enthused at the police's diligence in their investigation. They didn't even search Fabio's room for clues, even after Mr. Tallis had brought it up to them. He actually had to bring items that he thought were important to them, but put a knife in that. Now, getting back to what we were talking about what exactly were the Beasts of Satan, the documentary says that the Beasts of Satan was a thrash metal band, and then in the same sentence they said that they covered Black Sabbath hits.
They could have sped them up.
But I love how documentaries in Hollywood are so quick to slap whatever label looks scary to them on various metal bands. Like for example, The Simpsons labeled Judas Priest as death metal. And poor Bart had to write a bunch of sentences on the chalkboard stating that Judas Priest is not death metal after all the backlash they got from it. Nice Nelson there. Priest is just heavy metal. That's all they are. Heavy metal. Another
British
example.
Steel.
Yeah. Another example is the podcast True Crime All the Time. They called Slayer a death metal band in their Release Parlor episode. And on their next episode, they had to explain that while scary, Slayer is not death metal.
Is what?
Huh?
Thrash metal? What are they?
They're thrash.
Thrash.
Yeah. They're part of the big 4 of thrash metal, along with Metallica, Anthrax, and Megadeth.
But like thrash and death can kind of intercross, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We did a lease parlor.
I know you did. I listened to that episode the other day with my lovely girlfriend who just flashed me a few minutes ago.
Nice.
But for this case, Black Sabbath is definitely not thrash metal, not even close.
No.
They're just heavy metal. They invented heavy metal.
Right. Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
I've also heard the term doom metal thrown around, or I'm like, I don't really know exactly what we want to call that, but I don't think so.
Doom metal is like stoner metal, like
heavy.
the Melvins or something.
Yeah. But if a band's covering Black Sabbath songs, they are definitely not a thrash metal band.
Unless they've got it super fast.
Right, which is possible, but I don't know. But band members
Andrea Volpe.
and
Niccolo Sapone.
they started vandalizing and robbing cemeteries for stage props.
Hell yeah.
They were also part of a satanic cult, and they wound up dragging band members into it, the other band members into it. And when I say satanic cult, I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here, Matt, is because you're a lot more familiar with what Satanism actually is versus what people like this think it is.
Well, I mean, there's LaVeyan Satanism, and then there's like the Satanic Temple. Both of those are atheist groups that just view the devil as a symbol of the rebel, the ultimate rebel, and they just like dig that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Whereas these guys are probably more like edgy teenager Satanists, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, man, I just drew a complete blank. Police did search Chiara's room, and they found an altar with inverted crosses and satanic literature. And, Chiara was into the occult for sure, but there was nothing there that would suggest anything was amiss. So, no.
The other thing to remember is this is like super Catholic Italy.
Right.
That's a big no-no.
But the police were like, nope, nothing to see here. And of course, there wouldn't be anything that would point to, that would point to that. I mean, she was missing. It's not like she left a note saying feeling cute might get sacrificed to Satan later. But even though having these items doesn't point to anything, it should have at least made them look into, I don't know, the people who knew her that weren't missing. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a cop. I mean, put a knife in
some questions or something.
Yeah, just put a knife in that. The police began looking at this like Chiara had done something with Fabio because she was an adult and he was a minor. They decided that the couple had take a guess. What did they do?
Oh, they ran off to get married or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And they would surely come home soon. Chiara and Fabio's parents should just go home and wait.
Definitely.
And one sergeant even said that Mr. Tallis was busting my balls, man. Busting my balls.
This fucking guy comes in here and makes me do my job. Who does he think he is, a taxpayer?
That was perfect. Mr. Tallis, however, continued on his own search. Now, Mr. Tallis is a freaking rock star. His son, not so much, but Mr. Tallis, I would like to interview Mr. Tallis at some point. So if anybody out there knows him, if he can speak English, please send him my way. I'd like to talk to him about. I'd like to know about what he did, what he did in his investigation, and all that stuff. I want to hear his story. But he made posters with their pictures on them and posted them all over Milan. And after 10 days, Mr. Tallis and the Marinos went to the media. That nothing came of that, but in the course of discussion between Mr. Tallis and the Marinos, Mr. Tallis found out about Chiara's room decor. He then began looking into the local metal scene on his own, going to bars, and was interrogating Fabio's friends, band members, and anybody who looked like they might know something about the satanic aspect of things. Now, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, he's not flipping out and accusing heavy metal for anything, although that will come later, spoiler alert, but not from him. He doesn't even have a problem with heavy metal or the fact that his son was immersed in that lifestyle. He's simply doing an investigation and going with the only lead that he has, which is something that the police should be doing.
Yep. He just wants his kid back, that's all. I mean,
yeah,
can't fault the guy for that.
And he was even supportive of his son being in the band, which is also awesome. But when Mr. Tallis learned that the Satanism wasn't just an isolated thing, pretty much all of the metalheads there were into it. But one name kept coming up more or less as the leader, and take a guess.
That's Mr. Volpe, I believe.
Well,
Paolo Leone.
Oh, that's right.
But the people who he talked to were basically afraid to give up any other names. Paolo Leone later turns out to be like the, for lack of a better term, spiritual advisor, the propaganda minister type that was responsible for the recruiter. Mm. He wasn't the actual leader, but he was the recruiter. So you got to figure a recruiter is going to want his name out there so that they can come and, they know who to come to if they want to join the cult.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I guess that's probably why the people had no problem with giving that name, but really nobody else. But one night when Mr. Tullis was out, a random stranger told him that he was in a bad area and that he should leave. And Mr. Tullis did leave, but he did, a few days later, decide to drop by for a surprise visit to old Paolo Leone. He wasn't home, but his mother let him in and showed him her son's bedroom. And there was everything you'd expect. There was goblets, pentagrams, goat skull, inverted crosses, lots of black, etc. In fact, he had actually painted the walls in his room black.
My mom would have been so fucking mad.
I keep trying to do that. My wife is like, stop.
Both Mr. Tullis and Chiara's mother continued to give evidence to the police that something sinister was going on, but police were still completely sold on the young love and runaway angle. At the very least, they should have been looking at it as an adult female kidnapped a minor male.
Yeah, technically, right? I mean...
Technically. She's 19, he's 16.
What's the age of consent in Italy? They might be...
It's 18 there, too.
18?
Yeah, I looked into that because I was curious about that. No, it's 18 there.
That's impressive. We didn't have to do an ADD break there, man. It was like,
no, we didn't.
I was getting fired up on the keyboard. I was like, oh, no, okay, shit.
But Mr. Tullis was keeping and documenting everything. He realized that all of the Beasts of Satan members are all telling the exact same story about what had happened to Chiara and Fabio. They were there at the midnight pub, left to go to the bistro to make a phone call, and that was that. And this was too much of a coincidence for Mr. Tullis, and he couldn't understand why the police weren't even looking into it. Sadly, the case of Fabio and Chiara went cold, but almost exactly 6 years after their disappearance, on January 24th, 2004, police got a phone call.
6 years.
Wow. But they stayed clean. They didn't do anything. They kept their hands clean during that 6 years?
Well, that we know of. And you know what? Put a knife in that. A business owner reported that there was a young man walking the streets aimlessly. He looked dazed and confused and not normal. And not to mention it was freezing, so this was definitely out of the ordinary. Police approached him, and it was 20-year-old
Andrea Volpe,
one of the founding members of the Beasts of Satan. He was definitely whacked out on drugs, specifically a cocktail of cocaine, methamphetamine, and heroin.
That'll do it. I mean...
Yeah, that's intense. He had a story. He said that he was driving and his girlfriend, 18-year-old Elisabetta Ballerin, was following him. He swerved and he looked behind him and his girlfriend's car was no longer there. He then began saying that he was worried about her and he was afraid that she'd been assaulted and he had no idea where she was. And I didn't say it was a good story. But shocker, it was a lie.
No.
Yeah, it really was.
Damn it.
That didn't happen.
I was really starting to trust these guys, you know?
Police did find Elisabetta's car, and she was in it. She was foaming at the mouth and just sitting in her car. And she couldn't even talk. And the police called for they then called for the paramedics. Elisabetta and
Andrea Volpe
were both taken to the hospital. And to the shock of nobody, Elisabetta was ODing, and she was admitted, and she was lucky to be alive. Any longer, she wouldn't have been. Elisabetta and
Andrea Volpe
lived in a cottage on Elisabetta's parents' property. Her father was very well off, big name, lots of money, owned a lot of land. But she had dropped out of school and talked her well-to-do father into letting her stay in this cottage with her boyfriend.
Andrea Volpe.
This guy's a real winner, too. I mean, he was unemployed, he was a drug addict, he was a drug dealer, and he was also in the Beasts of Satan.
It was starting to sound a little familiar from that last episode we did,
Oh,
unemployed, fucking loser, yeah.
Yeah,
What
I was thinking
instrument
that,
did he
too. I'm sorry?
What instrument did he play?
It doesn't say. I think Andrea Volpe, was the drummer. That's the only thing that where it actually said what they actually played. Andrea Volpe was like a founding member and the drummer.
Okay. I'm guessing they killed the bassist.
I wanted to make a something like that, but I couldn't come up with anything. I even thought about putting a bass guitar on the guy in the guy's hand that was tied up on the picture.
You know what you throw a drowning bassist?
His amp.
Cinder. Oh, I was going to say a cinder block. No.
Like I said, I listened to your Parlor episode the other day, so that's fresh in my head.
Oh, did I say that in there?
Yes.
Oh.
But once Elisabetta was stable, she began saying things like, as she drifted in and out of consciousness, things like blood, sacrifice, graves, pillow talk.
Goth pillow talk.
Yeah. Whatever happened, it happened at the cottage. Back at the police station, the police, who were finally doing something that actually resembled police work, they discovered the car that
Andrea Volpe.
was driving. They discovered that it wasn't his.
No.
They contacted the owner, and she was the mother of a young lady named Mary Angela Pizzotta. She had let Mary Angela use the car the night before to meet up with friends, but she never came home that night.
Huh. Wonder where she went.
Well, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. Police found the car by a dam. It had been wrecked, and it had been driven by a man named, take a guess.
Alistair Crawley.
Andrea Volpe.
What was it you said, Matt?
Nothing. Just being stupid.
The woman knows who Andrea Volpe is, and she wasn't thrilled by this news. He was Mary Angela's boyfriend, and she didn't like him. He and Mary Angela had dated since junior high school, but after high school, Volpe had joined the military. But when he got out and came back, he was a different person. He had a bunch of tattoos, drug problems, and a bad attitude.
Ill as fuck.
Yeah. This obviously put a strain on he and Mary Angela's relationship, and she left him. But they continued to see each other, and Mary Angela was giving him money. And
yeah.
Musician's life, dude. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. But currently, he was Elisabetta's boyfriend.
They're Italian.
So the car was accounted for, and Andrea Volpe was accounted for, but Mary Angela was not. Where the hell was she? Any guesses?
Oh, no. They hide these corpses well, apparently. I don't
It's
know.
like probably somewhere near the cottage.
I've got all these on here. I got to keep scrolling back up and down.
I'm
because
sorry,
of all,
what
all
is
these
somewhere
ones
near
with
the
names.
cottage? Damn it. I don't get the points for it.
Police still doing police stuff. They went to the Elisabetta's college, and it was abandoned. They went in, and it was trashed, furniture turned over, dirty dishes, garbage everywhere, and a snake. It was a boa constrictor that they had in a filthy aquarium. There was an empty greenhouse outside. Inside, they saw a mound of freshly dug dirt with a hand and foot sticking out of it.
It's just like straight up, just like half-ass buried this person. Like, they'll never find it.
But they cleared it and found the body of Mary Angela Pizzotta. she had been shot in the face and the neck and obviously buried very quickly. But what was really fucked up was the fact that her body was still warm.
Oh, shit.
Meaning that her death was very recent, like no more than 2 hours prior. I mean, remember, this is January and it's freaking cold. So that's crazy. So
Andrea Volpe.
was charged with her murder, and he decided to start talking. He said that the gun had gone off by accident. He was just showing it to her. It went off twice accidentally.
Yeah.
It belonged to Elisabetta's father, and Elisabetta ran in when she heard the gunshot, and they decided to bury Mary Angela out in the greenhouse. So, are you keeping up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, obviously that story was bullshit. For one, there was a fourth set of footprints in the snow. For two, Elisabetta told a different story at the hospital. So, according to
Andrea Volpe.
here's what really happened. It was Mary Angela's birthday, and he had called her to say happy birthday and to invite her to the cottage to celebrate.
As you do with your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, he called his ex-girlfriend to come to his current girlfriend's place to celebrate her birthday.
Well, they're Italian. Let's call it a threesome, bud.
So, but still, either you're lying, or you're stupid, or you're both.
50-50.
Or 100. Mary Angela arrived, and an argument between she and Volpe broke out. He pulled out a gun to scare her, and it accidentally went off. Once again, twice. But then again, he doesn't know that the body's been found. Or maybe he doesn't, because it said a minute ago that he was charged with murder. Well, I don't know. Maybe they haven't told him yet, and they're seeing what he would say.
Yeah, trying to see if he'll screw up and like implicate himself so they don't have to actually do any more work.
Right. That tracks. But they panicked and called the leader of the Beasts of Satan one.
Niccolo Sapone.
He arrived, and Mary Angela was still alive. He screamed at Volpe. He says, "You can't even kill a girl?" So while alive, they wrapped her in a tarp and dragged her outside into the greenhouse, where
Niccolo Sapone.
then hit Mary Angela in the head with a shovel to kill her, and then they buried her.
Oof.
Sapone then told Volpe to ditch the car that she had been driving by the river. Volpe then said that was when things started going wrong.
Not after the accidental multiple gunshot wounds to the head.
Right.
That was when I fucked up and I had to park this car somewhere and I couldn't do it right.
You want me to stop with the AI voice, or? I mean,
it's up to you. I mean,
okay. I guess I'll just use it on names that I haven't said 100 times. So, but the police had a question, the same one that you probably have there too.
Kevin Kelton of the
Oh,
History Goon
son
podcast,
of a bitch.
which you can find on any streaming platform,
Oh my God.
YouTube, and Patreon.
Jesus, that was way too sexy for my shit. Damn.
But the question was, why did this murder take place? What was the motive? The same night, January 24th, Mr. Tallis, remember him? Mm-hmm. He was watching the news around midnight, and he saw that Andrea Volpe and Elisabetta Ballerin had been arrested for moide. He didn't know Elisabetta's name, but when he heard Andrea Volpe, his spidey senses went through the roof. He knew that name. I mean, 6 years had gone by, but he still had all of his research into the beasts of Satan, even satanic rituals. And, remember, Fabio's disappearance was still unsolved.
Yeah.
He already believed that these people had something to do with his son's disappearance, but this confirmed it as far as he was concerned. Mary Angela's face was all over the news, and he knew her as the girlfriend of Andrea Volpe. He had that from when he was doing his investigation. He had all their names. But now she was murdered. Coincidence? I think not. and neither did Mr. Tullis. He believed that Mary Angela was killed because she had either talked or was about to talk in regards to the malicious activities of this band cult.
It's probably a fair assumption, you know.
They need to give Mr. Tullis a freaking badge. But Mr. Tullis got a meeting with a police sergeant the next day. The sergeant went over the research that Mr. Tullis had, and he says, "You're busting my balls again, man." No, he didn't say that.
You're busting my balls.
You were busting my balls, man.
Yeah, I was going to make a comment when you said he first started talking to the police. I was going to say, yeah, we with a lot of this going on, because
hand talk.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm guilty of that too. So,
but no, the sergeant froze and was dumbfounded, and he asked Mr. Tullis if he was sure about all of this. To which Mr. Tullis says, "Yes, you see this face? This is my serious face." No. Name that movie. What movie did that come from?
I don't know what that one is. I want to say it's some Robert De Niro movie. I don't know why.
No. It was from Team America World Police.
Oh, God. Great movie.
Yes.
One of the funniest movies of all time. But he did pull the briefcase out with every bit of the research that he had, and he laid it on the table for the cop. I could just picture, boom, you know,
kerplunk.
Yeah,
dents the table.
Niccolo Sapone.
Oh, I said I wasn't going to do that again. Had been brought in for interrogation, and police told him about Andrea Volpe confessing. And Sapone denied everything. He said that Volpe had called him that night, and he did go to them, but he swore that Mary Angela was already dead when he got there. He ditched when he saw her dead body, and that was all he did. That's all I did, man. That's all I did.
Yeah, I just came over, saw this dead chick, and then left.
Yeah, hauled ass.
Big deal.
Yeah. But Sapone was released. I mean, they had nothing on him. Volpe was a druggie who had already given two very different stories, and Elizabetta, strangely, had just come down with a severe case of amnesia.
Isn't she the one that was in the hospital, though?
Yeah.
They had bigger fish to fry. There was an American college girl there named Amanda Knox, and they had to get her for that shit.
We have a missing white girl. We need to solve this case instead. Seems to be how they do shit like that over here. And she's blonde. Oh my God!
They accused her of being in a satanic cult and having a satanic ritual, and I was like, that is so crazy. How could they say that about somebody? That's so stupid. And then I hear about
it's
this
actually
case,
going
and
on.
It's actually happening. Yeah, I'm like, holy fuck. Maybe they weren't that far off base. Like, what the fuck?
Well, but you know what? Where's my knife? Put a knife in that. We'll get back to that. Remind me, because it fits. But Mr. Tullis's investigation was being dug into. All of these people had ties to the occult and Satanism, and they all knew Fabio and Chiara. On May 17th, 2004, Volpe took the advice of his lawyer and told everything. They were the group called the Beasts of Satan, and he said that they had committed, quote, all those murders. All those murders. Not just the one. All those murders. He then said, this one, and this other one. He then listed...
Not a good lawyer. Hey, man, admit to a bunch of crimes that you haven't been accused of yet. Done.
Well, maybe the lawyer figured that they were going to go down regardless. I don't know. But he then listed all the names of the other members. The list that I listed them all at the beginning of the episode, so no need to go through all that again. But the important thing here was that all of the names Volpe listed, Mr. Tullis had every single one of them in his research.
Make him the chief of police. He's clearly a better cop than you guys.
He also gave yet another story about Mary Angela Pizzotta's death. In this version, Sapone ordered the murder. The reason for this hit was she was drifting away from the group. Maybe she had had enough of the dramatic Satan worship. But she had become dangerous because she knew too much to be kept alive. Apparently, Sapone was very paranoid about Mariangela since her breakup with Volpe. He was worried that she would come forward about Fabio Tallis and Chiara Marino, and that if Volpe refused to kill Mariangelina, he would kill both Volpe and Elisabetta. Like, you don't kill her, I'm going to kill both you and your girl. Your new girl. Back in 1998, the Beast of Satan band was going strong, and the satanic aspect began as a band entity as a whole. The band glamorized it to attract new members. So they didn't necessarily have 8 members of the band, but they had followers, probably. And what I'm picturing is these bands that have people that tour with them to get up on stage and scream backup vocals. That's what I'm picturing everybody's role. They were in the band, but they weren't, they weren't like...
Right.
They were the drummer.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a tom on the stage, a snare, a bass drum. They all hit. God, can you imagine how hard that would be to coordinate that? Oh, man.
It's like, I can't remember the name of the band, but they had I believe it was one of like the Norwegian black metal bands where they went into an asylum, basically, and they got permission to just record a bunch of like mental patients screaming that they used as backup vocals and a bunch of their stuff.
That's awesome.
People like babbling on like lithium and shit. It weird.
What band was? I've heard of that.
I can't remember which one it was. It's not coming up, but I remember the story. I don't remember who it was though.
But when I was in the band with Todd back in the late 90s, we were playing with this band called Cryogenic, and I was sitting there with my drummer, who we talked about in last week's episode, and it was just
the unfortunate name.
Yeah, it was just me and him and a couple other people. We were just sitting there having a couple drinks, like long before the show started. We had already loaded in and all that stuff, and we were just chilling. This guy comes in. He's dressed in like stage clothes. He's wearing like leather, like a black shirt with chains on it, leather, like leather pants and stuff like that. And he had already had his makeup done, and he came in with this street sign, and he put it up on the stage. Cryogenic was playing first, and we're like, "Who are you?" Like, it's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "This is for the show." Like, well. What is it? What are you going to do with it? You'll see. You're going to be here tonight. You'll see. I said, well, who are you? Because obviously not a member of Cryogenic. He goes, I'm Cryogenic's backup singer. And I'm like, I didn't know they had one of those. He goes, yeah, it's me. Well, what's your name? I'm Cryogenic's backup singer. So I looked at him as... I looked at him, and I'm still in just my regular work clothes and everything, because this is, like I said, we just loaded in and all that stuff. And I said, well, I'm Madstone's lead singer. And he goes, cool. So he goes, and I later told Benny, the lead singer of Cryogenic, about that, and he's just like, I have been trying to tell that fucker, just because we let him come on stage one time doesn't mean that he's part of the band now. And he mysteriously wasn't at the show later that night. Hashtag, but I digress. Sapone was essentially forming a cult with this. But this wasn't what Satanism is, according to the Satanic Bible, where there are essentially atheists who just basically like to freak people out. Did I get that kind of like the Reader's Digest condensed version of it there, Matt?
I mean, I guess they're trying to freak people out a little bit, but I think it's more about rejecting religion, and because a lot of people, like you yourself, have been so hurt by religion that they want to break free of it, and sometimes the best way to do that is just to like go overboard in that direction. I mean, I think it's like one of the things that the Satanic Temple says is blasphemy is a form of spiritual freedom. So if you can be blasphemous, you're free. You know what I mean? You're not hindered. You're not tied down. So a lot of it's about personal expression, personal freedom. You know what I mean? Breaking morals, like sexual morals, things like that. Anything hypocritical kind of bullshit.
Okay. But that's not what this was. This was people doing scary things and rituals and killing people and stuff like that. This is not
hot
this
topic
is
Satanist.
yeah, hot topic Satanist, or I was going to say Hollywood Satanist, but
Oh no, that's a completely different thing. I think.
well, we'll put a knife in that too. But Chiara joined the band not only as a cult member, but she was also in the band too as a backup singer. But she had fallen in love with Fabio Tallis, who had also just joined the band. But here we find out that the cause of all this, it wasn't anything. It was just the band the band leaders didn't like the fact that Chiara and Fabio had found love. Why? Every single one of them wanted her, because she was apparently really hot, and she just had them all, all in heat. But Chiara and Fabio had basically decided to leave the cult band because of all the friction due to all the other dudes wanting Chiara. So the Beast couldn't have that, so they made a move. And for the second week in a row, we have a "if I can't have her, nobody can" situation.
Hooray.
Although none of the people in this mindset actually had her in this situation. They had just wanted her. So it was all over a girl.
And had nothing to do with Facebook.
Nothing to do with Facebook. Nothing to do with Satan. And the guys in the group just wanted her, so they offed Fabio and Chiara. And I'm reminded of the South Park episode where the girl's breast began to develop and all the guys started acting like cavemen. All the boys. But we have an old friend who hasn't been on the show in almost 2 years making his return. That's right, everybody. Flaccid Jizzless, the Norwegian black metal tambourine man. I mean, he heard about this case, and he wrote a song about it and sent it to us. So I'm going to play that for you right now. There's old Flaccid.
Metal man in Italy, killing members done to me. Worship Satan just to scare. Kill them all, I don't care. Wreck the band over one girl. Worship Satan, give her the world. Plenty of fish in Italian Sea. Fight over one, band history. 8 band made, far too much. 8-way split, $100. I make all money I can. Norwegian black metal tambourine man. Good to be back.
Thank you, Flaccid Jizzless. I can't believe he hadn't been on the show in like 2 years almost.
I found a psychiatry and behavioral science essay on this.
Oh shit!
On this case?
Yeah.
Okay.
It says that, wow, she was burned alive before being hit in the head with a spade, with the shovel.
Jesus.
That wasn't covered in the documentary.
And it says, and it says that when Fabio was killed, it was the night of the black moon. He's beaten with rods.
I did not find this. But on the afternoon of January 17th, 1998, the Beasts of Satan got together in the woods and they dug a grave. That night at the Midnight Pub, they all got together and decided to go out in the forest for a ritual, and of course, Fabio and Chiara were invited. They didn't know it, but they were the guests of honor.
Yeah.
But Fabio decided that he didn't want to go after all, and he told Volpe that he wanted to go home because his dad would be worried. Volpe then forced Fabio to go next door, call his father, and say that he wanted to stay with Chiara. After the call was made, the Beasts spread word around the Midnight Pub that they were all going to a huge club called the Nautilus, and they all left. So once the group left, they headed into the woods. But the Nautilus was just, hey, we're going to Nautilus. That's where we're. Yep,
Yeah.
we're definitely
Paper
not
trail.
going into the woods. We're definitely not going into the woods. We're going to Nautilus.
Leaving a paper trail. They're like, oh yeah, no, this is where we're going. So
Right.
if anybody asks, that's where we were, not out.
We're definitely not killing anybody in the woods.
Yeah.
But once they got to the spot in the woods, they all got out of their cars, and once Chiara got out, the guys attacked her. Chiara had a knife on her, and she pulled it out trying to fight back, but Volpe and Saponi both overpowered her and took turns stabbing her. Fabio had tried to help Chiara, but he was savagely beaten in the head with a hammer by another member. At this point, Chiara and Fabio were still alive, barely. They were rolled into the grave where Saponi and the others surrounded the grave, and all of them pissed on Fabio and Chiara. But you're saying that they were doused in gas and set on fire?
No, the other girl, the girl in the greenhouse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that wasn't in there. That wasn't. Damn, that's a pretty important thing. That's an important detail. But the grave was filled in, likely while the pair were still barely alive.
Damn, dude.
And Saponi then stood on the grave and said, as in a taunt, basically completing the sacrifice, "Now you're zombies. Try to get out of this hole."
Okay, weirdo.
The next day, they went back to the spot and doused the grave with ammonia, thinking that would mask the decomp smell from animals, and apparently it did. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but I didn't want to Google it because I'm sure my search history is already being watched.
I mean, I already can't fly. I might as well. Let's see.
But apparently this is the perfect crime because for 6 years, it was listed as an unsolved disappearance. The only reason it was even found out is because they were turning on each other due to mistrust, like I said in the very beginning. They ate their own. But the only reason that the bodies were found was because Volpe himself told them where to dig.
Right.
Forensic teams examined the remains, and this is what they determined. Fabio's skull was bashed in, but he also had 64 stab marks on various bones.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Even with a bashed-in skull, he fought these pukes. I mean, he fought every remaining second of his life, but what did him in was evident in a cut to the front part of his neck bone. There was a gash. They had slit his throat. They had likely all just subdued him, and then one person just went slice.
So, according to a Google search, ammonia is not typically used to mask odors and crimes, but rather to destroy evidence or create hazardous environments. It's a powerful cleaning agent often used to eliminate traces of blood, narcotics, or smoke residue. Yeah, it's not usually used specifically for covering smells.
But it would be enough to keep animals away.
I think they probably just had him deep enough. How deep was the grave?
Didn't say.
I mean, one of them was pretty shallow.
Well, the greenhouse, yeah, that was
the greenhouse. But the way they pre-planned it, you would have to assume that it was pretty deep, because they went there like earlier in the day, all of them burying it, like digging it out and everything. But all of the beasts were arrested and charged with murder. Saponi was given 2 life sentences. Paulo Leone got life, and he was actually the one that brought Satanism into the group. Like I was telling you earlier, he was kind of like the recruiter. Leone's father was a known Satanist who was serving a life sentence for killing a woman.
His father was a Satanist.
Yes. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But Eros Monterosso and Mark Zampalo both got 29 years each. Mario Massioni got life, but only 19 years because he was under 18. Volpe was initially sentenced to 30 years, but it was reduced to 20 because he had spilled the beans on this whole thing. Elizabeth Ballarin was only 18 when this happened, and she didn't actually participate in the murders, but she was an accomplice, so she got 23 years, and there are debates on whether or not sentence was too harsh for her.
Yeah, the maximum life sentence in Italy is 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, they had killed 4 people.
That's too many.
And you're scratching your head. Are you scratching your head about the fourth person? Yeah, because we're going to hear about that one now. It was actually a coerced suicide.
All right.
19-year-old Andrea Bontade, or Bontadi, or whatever, had helped dig the grave for Fabio and Chiara, but he didn't show up for the murder. Volpe and Sapone saw this as betrayal, and he had to go because he knew about it. But this wasn't immediate. The group drank together and partied nearly every night. Volpe and Sapone, over the coming months, would spike his beers with acid, and while this constant trip did diminish his brain function, he ultimately began developing a tolerance for it. And this has freaking Michael Malloy vibes.
Yeah, I was just
vibes,
thinking that,
vibes, not voibes, vibes. But one night in September 1998, Volpe, Sapone, and Bontade were drinking heavily at the Midnight Pub. And afterwards, they told him that he had to go. It was too much of a risk, and they couldn't have a coward running around with dirt on them. So they told him, either you do it or we do it for you. Bontade got into his car, got it up to about 110 miles an hour, headed into a roundabout where he lost control and smashed into a house, killing him instantly.
Oof.
It also came out that the Beast tried to kill Fabio and Chiara on December 31st, 1997, just a couple weeks before they actually did it, by locking them into a car and throwing a firecracker into the gas tank. The car caught fire, but Chiara and Fabio were able to escape it before it exploded. This supposedly was a test of courage for them, and they did these tests to every member every so often. So they probably just told him it was a test. It was just a test. Like as soon as they got out of the car, as it's exploding, it was just a test, and yay, you passed. I could chuckle at.
You made it through this thing that wouldn't have actually done anything. Congrats.
Well, the car did explode.
Really? Okay. I thought you meant like the firecracker exploded. No, okay.
No, it ignited the gas in the gas tank and exploded. But Matt, okay, remember I said we were going to get back to Amanda Knox. When did this happen with her?
I think it was 2007, wasn't it? I'm pretty positive it was 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, 2007. That's when she was convicted in 2007.
Okay, so
it was probably her initial trial was in 2009. So yeah, it was. I think it was 2007.
So the judge that sentenced the Beast said that they were not criminals inspired by Satanism.
Yeah,
but
she
they
moved
were
there on September 10th, 2007.
Okay.
She wasn't there long.
Well, then she should have known that there was a satanic panic going on there.
Right.
Because that's what I'm getting to right now.
On.
Yeah, because of this case.
Wow.
But the judge who sentenced the Beast said that they were not criminals inspired by Satanism, but they were immature, uneducated, and weak individuals who created a world which reigned in total moral misery. And the media does what the media does and whipped Italy up into their own satanic panic over this. Luckily, it didn't last as long as the one in the U.S. did, but for a while, religious leaders and politicians were trying to get heavy metal banned and all sorts of, like scary movies and stuff like that. All banned. And what happens when you try to kill the metal? It gets stronger. But so yeah, when she was over there, I mean that kind of makes sense. They were probably still right in the at the peak of their satanic panic because of this case.
It makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, really, it does. They were in there. That's why they were so like ready to accuse her of being a Satanist and all that stuff. Wow. Damn, that's crazy. So they were... Damn. I think I should cover Amanda Knox next.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's a 2-part episode, though. But they're in prison for... Now I really want to interview her, ask her what she thinks about that. About the possibility. Because... I have never heard anything come up about about the fact that they were just accusing her of being a Satanist and doing rituals and stuff. But
And it sounded so ridiculous, right? Like I would always, I got really deep into that case, and I was like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" You know what I mean? What would make them think this? And now, like, it's like a
This
revelation.
is why.
It makes
This is-
total
yeah.
sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why. I mean, how many people in the United States got during the
I know,
Satanic
right?
Panic were thrown on trial for something because some Karen down the street just doesn't like their neighbor and decided to accuse them of performing satanic rituals on their kid.
Totally.
None of that happened.
Well,
So
Richard
there-
Ramirez happened. And there was a
Well,
couple.
yeah, there's a couple.
The Chicago Rippers.
The Chicago Rippers. You might even throw the hatred in there. Those chuckleheads in the Elise Parlor case.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
But those guys were just wannabes. Those guys are.
They're just like little kids. They're like children.
Yeah. I haven't looked them up yet, but I do remember a picture of one of them, this little fat guy with these big brown eyes. I'm assuming he was the drummer.
What's crazy is they were all about the movie By the River's Edge, which is based on a true story. So this true story happened. They made this movie about it called The River's Edge, which inspired those guys to commit the murder, and then that murder inspired Jennifer's body. So
Yeah.
it's like this melding of these different movies and stories, and all based on each other. It's so crazy.
Yeah. But definitely check out the Elise Parlor episode on the Mighty Murder Coaster. But
Yeah, we had a lot of really cool bands give us songs too, so that was fun.
yeah, I'm just waiting on that one episode. When you can use one of my songs.
I'll use one of your songs.
Oh,
You were
Danny
supposed to
Rolling.
record me some Charlie Manson songs.
I tried. I can't get my right hand to move that freaking fast.
See, and everyone says he's
tried.
a terrible musician, right? And then you listen to it, you're like, he's actually pretty good.
I sent you what I had, and it was nowhere near fast enough.
Right?
And
I
that
never
was
did.
just-
We never did do it. I was still so that's open. We still. I would
Well,
really
I
like
could-
to get a whole bunch of musicians to give me songs for it before I do it, and then I want to do like a 6-part fucking just
Well, I can,
beyond in depth.
Here's what I can do. I can go through a bunch of his songs, find one that's not going to destroy my right hand by trying to play faster than Yngwie Malmsteen, and just record
He's like
a version
flamenco,
of that.
is what he's doing. He's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
hippie flamenco.
Yeah.
My one friend did record Garbage Dump for me.
I had no idea that their hands were moving that fucking fast. I can play really fast with my right hand, but that shit's like at least double the speed that I can play at.
You need some orange sunshine, man. Some free love. You gotta be like the coyote up on the cross.
So they're in prison for 4 murders, but they're suspected in many more. There were even more disappearances and suicides and murders in that area, the area of the people who were tied in one way or another to the beast of Satan that still remain unsolved. So what were they doing during those 6 years?
A lot of weird shit.
Well, 31-year-old Fabio Rapalli, whose body was found mummified in the woods near Pontremoli on September 6, 1996.
That's 2 Fabios.
That's 3.
3 Fabios. Wow.
3 Fabios.
Too many Fabios.
Killing Fabios. 23-year-old construction worker Christian Frigerio from Brugherio. I am the great Brugherio.
Christopher Frigerio sounds like an extra on the fucking Sopranos.
He does.
Well, yeah.
Christopher.
But he was a
Bring the gabagoo, Christopher.
he was allegedly a former member of the Beast of Satan who had disappeared on November 14th, 1996. His body was never found. Mario Massioni connected his disappearance to the group in 2008, but he later retracted it.
No one cared because he was the drummer.
Right. Or bass player. 21-year-old Andrea Ballerin, the childhood friend of Volpe, found hanged in the school that he had
Jesus.
attended on May 7th, 1999. His suicide was connected to the beast by Volpe and later by Massioni too, but police found Volpe's confession and the description of the events unreliable. This is Andrea Ballarin. Ballarin, same last name as the girl who was killed, in the greenhouse, but I don't know if they were related. 28-year-old Angelo Lombardo, caretaker of the cemetery of Lugano and an acquaintance of some of the members of the group, he was burned alive in the cemetery on December 14th, 1999.
Jesus.
Yeah, accidental overdose, or a campfire accident, maybe.
It seems like the kind of thing they would do,
It does. 26-year-old Doriano Mola was found hanged in the woods near, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that city, on December 27th, 2000. 21-year-old Luca Colombo, a flower seller and she's a shrubber. She designs and arranges and makes shrubberies.
A shrubist.
A shrubist. I had to go there. But she was a friend of Sapone. I have a welcome mat that has a picture of the main knight who said knee, and it said, "Did you bring a shrubbery?" on it. That's my doormat outside. 18-year-old carpenter.
Nothing too expensive.
Alberto Scaramunzio from Durago. He was found burned in his car in the woods on May 23rd, 2004.
Yeah, fuck Italy, man. This place is scaring me, man.
But the imprisoned beasts deny their involvement in these cases.
Of course, yeah. No, we would never totally set like 3 different people on fire.
Yeah.
That's because they're going to get out in 30 years. So
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it again.
So when they get out, they'll be in their 50s.
I'm in my 50s. I'm ready to kill right now.
But man, the Italians have an inordinately long life. Like they have one of the highest life expectancies of any culture. Like there's a whole fucking town of I can't remember. It's like on one of the little islands or something where the average age is like 102 years old.
It's the Mediterranean culture. Yeah, so does Greece.
Yeah.
Southern
they
Spain.
just smoke cigarettes and drink wine and live forever.
It's the
insane.
olive oil, they say, man.
It's got to be. It preserves them.
No, they literally think it is the olive oil. They don't eat butter. They just eat olive oil and shit. I take olive oil like as a medicine, man. I like fill up a tablespoonful of it and just chug it down all the time.
I like olive oil.
What does it do for you?
Google it. It does. It's amazing. It does all kinds of shit for you. It's supposed to be. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I like olive oil, but my disgusting French blood's like, nah, butter on everything.
That's what I was a butter fanatic forever, but I've changed my ways. I still like it, but I'm just trying to be healthy.
I need to. I'm trying to eat healthy too these days, but yeah, it happens when you get to be in your 50s.
Yeah.
Especially if your friends start dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Totally.
But anyway.
All my friends just overdosed on drugs after high school, so I beat most of them, and I'm just a fat shit.
Well, unless you guys got anything else?
No.
Well, that's all I got. So,
well, that is some crazy shit, man. Thank you for telling me that story, Bill.
Yeah, when I started writing it, I'm like, I need to have Murder Matt on for this one.
Like I knew some of it from that documentary, but a lot of the other details I had never heard. And I don't believe in that documentary they bring up the fact that they were like setting people on fire.
No, it didn't. That didn't come up.
Holy shit, that's wild.
Well, I look forward to hearing your episode on it there, Matt, at some point.
I wish there was like books or something. You know what I mean? It's not much to research.
So once again, thanks a lot to
Murder Matt of the Mighty Murder Coaster podcast.
Hail
coming
Satan.
on. And Thanks for listening. We appreciate the hell out of it. And, please subscribe, follow YouTube page, comment, follow us whatever streaming platform you use, whatever. Do the same for History Goon and the Mighty Murder Coaster, which it's just Murder Coaster, but I call it the Mighty Murder Coaster because it's a pretty accurate name for that podcast, because he and Krista are incredible. Oh. Like theirs is so polished, but he likes to come on this show every now and then and cut up. So
it's a completely different animal. It's all. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. But it's one of the few podcasts that I even listen to anymore. A lot of the ones I used to listen to all the time, I just don't even care to listen to anymore. But maybe if they gave me some love, then
that guy would have lived there.
But anyway, if you like us, tell a friend. If you hate us, tell an enemy. Stay out of Italy. And until next week, later.
Buongiorno, or whatever.
Arrivederci.
Sayonara. Wait, anyway. Bye.